quality of the PowerPoint not being optimum, so just bear with. But first, I said that I went to have a look in the dictionary, in the Chambers Dictionary, which is a standard dictionary for in the English language, to see what can I find there under the word fraternity. So the first one is a state of being brethren. That means a state of being like brothers. And here when we say the word brothers, please include sisters. It's the language is non-inclusive, but going forward, I guess all these things will have to improve. So fraternity is a state of being like brothers. It's a brotherhood. And then there's another couple of meanings that they put there. A set of people with something in common, or a society formed on the principle of brotherhood. So it's all about things in common and being like brothers and sisters, which I found quite interesting, because when I looked it up in the dictionary in Portuguese, it was all a whole bit about love. And here in the English dictionary, there's no bit about love. It's all about being brothers and sisters, and having common objectives, which is I think, a slightly sort of different aspect to it, which made me reflect and lead me through further on. So I said, well, it's a state of brotherhood and being a brother. What is a brother? So then I go in the dictionary. This is my method of operating. I start with a word, I go in the dictionary, I think about it, and say, well, what actually does that word mean? So then I go and I look up the other words. So simple words like brother. So of course the first one saying it's male in relation to another male or female born to the same parents. So it's our understanding of a brother, somebody that's born to the same mum and dad. Yes, that's our basic understanding of what a brother is. But it also says anyone closely united with or resembling another, associated in common interests. So here, again, it's using the idea of brother and brotherhood as some group of people who have a common interest, common objective. So if we think a little bit further on, and then I'm thinking, with question 774 of the Spirit's book, part of the answer, this is about family, and it says, God has His will that humans learn to love one another as brothers and sisters. So then we start to see what is the importance of being brothers and sisters. And how does that fit into our life plans and our being here together today? And thinking about what does it mean to me to be like a brother or a sister? So like everything, the Spiritist philosophy, it shows us how everything starts like from the simple things in life. So you don't need to become a philosopher, you just need to look at your life and where you start your life, in your family. So the law of love means that we are born into a family, and in that family we will have our brothers and sisters, and these will be the people that we will be together with to learn from one another. As today we will be here together to learn from one another, and sometimes it will be challenging. So if we go back to thinking just about the law of love and just say, oh yeah, Jesus said we must all love one another and love ourselves and love God, and say exactly, well, what is love? What is love for each one of us? So love is a journey of development that we start off from our instinctive level, we go through our sensations, and we come further up to our higher feelings. We don't say, okay, I'm going to love you, and boom, I love you now. I can't go to the shop and I buy love. I can't say, from now on, I'm going to love everybody. It doesn't work like that, because love is a development that happens within us. And for that love to develop, we need to get to know one another. And that's why by knowing one another and being in a family, whatever aspect that family might present, how it is the opportunity of seeing things in one another. Because what we see in the other, what we see in our brother, in our sister, is a reflection of what goes inside our heart. And so we get annoyed with our brothers and sisters, and we say, oh, you do this and you do that. We can only see in the others that which we can identify, because we've got it somewhere in ourselves. So it's an excellent lesson for us to think about what we need to know and learn about ourselves, to develop ourselves. So rather than our brothers and sisters becoming like annoying or difficult or frustrating and not being the way we would like them to be, we say, no, that behavior in there really annoys me. Why? Because there's something there that makes an echo in my soul. So this is a blessing, because when we talk about self-knowledge and our journey of self-knowledge, most people start off, well, I'm an okay kind of person. I don't think, I'm that bad. So, what I really need to improve, which is fine, because that's where we are at. It's what we are presenting. We are kind of okay, law-abiding people trying to do our best. But we have a whole universe within us that we are oblivious of, that we haven't come to encounter as yet. And that shows up to us in others. When we see it in others, it is something that's reflecting from within. And I always joke because, and I give this example, people have heard it 100 times, but it's meaningful for me. So I remember when a lady came up to Divaldo and said, I want to start my inner journey and my self-improvement. I don't know how to start. So he says, what's the thing that you most hate in other people? What most annoys you? And then she goes, if people are, let's say, are liars. I said, okay, that's where you need to start, with your lying. And the woman was like really angry and saying, like, that's stupid, I don't lie. And off she went. And he said, that is the blindness that we can't see, that we have inside us this potential, or we might have in the past had this behavior. So it's not about chastising ourselves and saying, oh, we are bad, don't do this, don't do that. It's about saying, how interesting, I still have this behavior. What else might come up? And how can I transform this? Because this is self-love, is to self-transform, to accept ourselves. So if we can accept ourselves with the darkness that still lies in our soul, we can then accept our neighbour with the darkness that still lies in their soul. Because we are all on the same boat, the planet Earth boat, if you like. We're all in here together. And if we are all here at the same time, it's because we are all on the same level of evolution. Because the boat takes people who are on similar journeys. So if we think that we are too good to be here, then perhaps we need to do a little bit of self-investigation. Because those spirits who are well advanced, they don't have those thoughts. They just love. And so I say, when love comes out from within us, like I say, this is something that will develop and you can't force it. But when you start to accept yourself, accept your limitations, accept your darker side, not saying, oh, I have a dark side, well, this is just me and you just have to put up with it. It's not that, but saying how interesting that this behavior, perhaps this selfishness, has served me well in the past to help me survive. But now that I recognize it, let's see how I can turn it a bit, and so that it doesn't inflict pain to others, so that I can see also the pain that goes in others. So the work of developing our fraternity is the work of developing our love. And it all works in symphony. So when we take it outside our material, biological families, and we bring it to this environment, this is a family. And this is a family which we like some people more than we like others, because this is natural for us spirits at this level. So if we find somebody is challenging or difficult or annoying or saying something I don't agree with, let us be mindful that that is really helpful for us and say, where do we stand on these thoughts? How can we extend a hand and explore why also, they feel that way, so they have an idea that's different to ours. So tell me more about it, rather than saying, oh, your idea is stupid. It doesn't work, I've tried it. So that's an interesting idea. What can you tell me more about it? And make that flourish, so then it's all fertilized and much more can grow in the midst of it. I think that, it's as much as our biological families are challenging for us, we might have a brother or sister that we love, or we might love them all, but we might have those that we find really difficult. And that is normal, because that is the state of the earth, and that is how we learn day by day in our family, in our workplace, and in the spiritist gatherings. So coming together and being self-aware that we are not an angel as yet, but we are not the worst either. We are on a journey, and we have some good sides and bad sides. We have good days and bad days, because evolution isn't just linear like that. It's more like a spiral going up. So we can have different aspects. So some type of love might be easy for me, but another type of love might be difficult. And then the Spirit's always, they talk about love, thinking about it like a big diamond, in which different aspects of it are both being polished. So it might be in one life you really polished your motherly love, but in another life you're really polishing your brotherly love. So you're not doing it all at the same time, because evolution don't do everything. So some areas you have opportunity to give that a good polish, and then when that becomes natural to you, then that's natural to you. It's not a problem. It just flows. So love is what Jesus came to teach us. And thinking about the love begins with ourselves, self-love, self-acceptance. Let's stop being angry with ourselves for our mistakes, for when people say, I've done this, and I've done it again, and I always do this, and aren't I ever going to progress? It's not like that. Just let's love us and say, why do I behave in this way? I have something really strong in me that provokes this. What is it? And just start fishing with your own curiosity and thinking, what's coming out there, and thinking, if I can accept myself with all my limitations, then I can accept my brothers and sisters with all their limitations, and not expect that they be better than me, or not expect that anybody is better than anybody else, that we are all helping each other, and helping each other in the way that God put it, by not even realizing that we're helping each other. By being here together, it's like we are colliding with each other and just helping that progress, helping to chip off little bits and go, oh God, what happened there? And you know, I think one of the things that reduces the stress of everybody in this business, because when you come from a traditional Catholic or Christian belief, if you get it wrong, you're off to hell and that's it. You have one chance saloon. So now the Spirit say, no, you have all the chances that you need ad infinitum. So there's no rush. So when you get something wrong, instead of beating yourself up and say, oh my gosh, why did I get that wrong? So just explore that and work with it, so that perhaps next time, say, if I do this next time, maybe I'll be able to do it in a different way. And just loving yourself in that way, that you have to accept that you will make mistakes. And I always say, I had a boss once that we didn't like very much because he was very severe. And we, at the time, we made a mistake. I used to work at the Brazilian consulate, and we sent an Australian passport to an American citizen and the American passport to the Australian citizen. So we put the passports in the wrong envelopes because we were rushing, because we wanted to catch the post. And they were both little blue passports, and we put them in the opposite envelopes, and off they went, special delivery. When we realized, we went to our boss, oh, we made this mistake. And he said, I'm glad you made a mistake. And we were not expecting, we were like really trembling and afraid because he was very severe. He said, only people who are working make mistakes. People who don't work don't make mistakes. And I thought, this is an interesting thing that he's just said. I never expected him to say something that was really valuable. He said, if you work, you will make mistakes. It's in our human nature. So what are we going to do to fix it? And to stand up and say, look, sorry, we've made a mistake, how can we fix it? And phone the people up and phone the post office and try and sort it out, which obviously in the end everything sorted out. But it just made me think at the time that this person, who I didn't really have, I had a work relationship, that somebody that we were scared of, suddenly said something so valuable to me. Because when one of my kids made a mistake, I said, that's fine. But you only make a mistake if you're trying. If you don't try, you don't make a mistake. So mistakes are okay. They're part of learning and progressing. So I completely went off topic. But I think that this is the message I wanted to bring today about fraternity and being brothers and sisters. And I just finalize with something the Spirit say. It says, talking about to love, your neighbour as yourself. It says, when humanity really takes on this behaviour and it becomes the basis of all institutions, and they truly understand fraternity, then peace and justice will prevail amongst them. So we live in a world where there is not yet outstanding fraternity because we have difficulty with it. So as the phrase goes, the peace of the world begins in me, fraternity begins in me. So each one of us can find a way to model, to try and understand how best we can develop our fraternity, because it works both ways, and we are all in this together. There's no way out. Nobody will progress alone. We have the law of society and we are gregarious animals. We will all progress together. And it just makes life so much more interesting when instead of being angry and annoyed with others or frustrated, we see them as challenges and opportunities, as much as they will also see us the same way, and they will give us the opportunity to change and develop. So at this moment, as we meet here today, under the auspices of FAS, with the intention of coming together and sharing our successes, our defeats, our expectations and wishes and hopes and consolations for the future, let us try and offer the best we have in order that this may be the most productive and peaceful and loving opportunity that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you.